Hey guys, Garrett here, and if you're thinking of building a new home, there are 13 things that I think everybody should incorporate in their new home build. The first thing I want you to think about is the subfloor, and we're actually in my basement right now looking up because all of the subfloor is covered, but you want to think about the material you're going to use for your subfloor. And so what I have here is the Georgia Pacific. It's either the Dry Max or the Advantage. It is OSB, but it's treated to where it actually has a 500-day no sand guarantee. So if you're a DIYer like me, you're building your own home, you know that that floor up there is going to take a lot of abuse from rain and that sort of stuff until you get the whole thing covered up. So pick a material that is going to stand up to it. This was rated for 500 days, and I didn't need that many, but some people might. With that said, it's also heavier than normal OSB, and it is stiffer, so it won't flex as much. The second thing is a mana block, and so that's like a water distribution system. Most people are going to use PEX for their new homes, and it's going to look something like this, with basically just a big spider web of pipes coming off of it. Well, if you look in here, each one of these is a shutoff valve, and so you can really drill down into what goes off of each pipe and have individual shutoffs for it, meaning that you don't have to put so many shutoffs at the end source with this. You can have just basically one centralized shutoff, but there is one exception to this, and that has to do with toilets. I would suggest putting a shutoff at every single toilet. That is the one thing that can get out of control real fast if it is going to back up. So put a shutoff at every single toilet. Number 3 is sump pumps. I'd suggest getting a actual sump pump kit that has a lid to it so that it actually seals down. You don't want to get your storage areas like where I am too humid, so that's step one with a lid. The other thing is I actually have 2 sump pumps, one right here and one on the opposite corner of my house. If you're going to have a big house, I suggest 2 sump pumps at opposite ends, and I would say anything 2,000 square foot per level or more. You're also going to want a really good perimeter drain around your home. I have an interior and an exterior. I used Formadrain. Excellent system, and it runs actually dead level all the way around, so I don't have to worry about the corrugated pipe collapsing. But it feeds into both of my sump pumps, so if one fails, it's going to go automatically into the other sump pump, which is on the other side of the house. Next is soundproofing between walls. I use some fiberglass insulation bats, and on the other side of this is my theater room. And a lot of people are going to say that the fiberglass doesn't really do terribly much. Well, I actually have some experience with it, and it does a lot more than a person thinks. So this is my theater room. This wall is insulated. Of course, this is the wall that we were just looking at. The ceiling is insulated, so all the way around is somewhat soundproof. So you can use like the fiberglass or the rock wall. This is another wall that I stuck some of that insulation in. This wall is intended to be kind of the TV wall for the main living space out here, and it actually backs up to the master bedroom, and we didn't want a bunch of bleed over through. So that's something to think about. In between bedrooms is another good thing. Between my kids' bedroom, there's a wall that's shared. I went ahead and put some soundproofing in there as well. Another spot I would suggest would be anywhere that there's a toilet, and right behind this wall over here is a toilet for our master bedroom, and I did not put anything there, and I sure wish I did. It is kind of noisy. So think about the different walls within your house, the uses of those space, and whether or not you want some of that sound dampened. Number 5 has to do with the drywall that you put up on your ceiling. I recommend 5/8 inch drywall, and the reason is, yes, 1/2 inch can do it, but I've actually seen a lot of ceilings sag between the 24-inch on center trusses, and especially if it's the main floor ceiling, it can have a lot of weight on it with the insulation that's up above. So I went ahead and put 5/8 up. I know that I'm not going to have a problem. I actually have a little bit more fire barrier there as well. And I did the same thing in my basement. Number 6 is vaulted ceilings. I definitely recommend putting vaulted ceilings in. I mean, this is a giant space that I have from my main living area, but that vault makes it even bigger, just adding that height. I think from that peak all the way down is a little under 16 feet. And then with that said, we're able to put kind of an accent area right above our kitchen. And you can have different types of vaults as well. This is a barrel vault that I actually built that myself. And in the master bedroom, there's another vaulted space. Just gives nice architectural detail. Number 7 would be pocket doors, something that a lot of people forget about. But these pocket doors are really, really nice because they don't take a bunch of extra room whenever you're opening and closing these doors. You don't have that swing that you have to deal with. And speaking of pocket doors, here's another pocket door that goes into our laundry space. And this doorway itself wasn't even in the plan. So that's something I want you to think about. The plans, just because you have plans doesn't mean that you can't modify the plans. We added this pocket door because we wanted access to that laundry space. Number 8 would definitely be picture windows. This nice window right here, we actually had one that was is a double hung window, so it was 2 double hung windows, and we just hated having the grid style just like this and not being able to see out here. As you can see, we have nice wooded area right behind us, plus the pond and lots of trees. Why not capture that view as much as possible? So as you are thinking about your window designs, you're obviously going to need a certain amount of fresh air to meet code requirements, but anything else, I would suggest some sort of a picture window. Houses are going to be really tight these days, and the chances of you actually opening those windows is probably pretty small. So think about picture windows. Number 9 would be solid wood doors. And these are actually engineered doors, so they do have a veneer on the outside with basically particle board on the inside, but regardless, solid wood doors are going to be a heck of a lot quieter whenever you are in your room or you have an area shut, and the kids aren't going to beat them up nearly as bad. So this is completely unfinished. Yes, it takes a lot of work to finish it, just like all the other doors that I showed you upstairs, but man, they look fantastic when they are done. Or of course, you can always paint them, which to me is a tragedy. I don't know if you can see that, but that right there is a switch for lights. So whenever I built this, I actually put lights up in the attic, and that's one of the best things you can do, and it's probably something that a person is going to forget about. As you can see, there's a light right there, but there's also an outlet right below it, and that outlet is on the exact same switch, so I can turn everything off. But I put one here, and then if you look way down, you know, it's a big old house, goes a long, long way down there. I've got another light over here, I've got another light down there, and then it actually turns to the right again, and there's another light. And I also put another outlet way the heck down there, so if I ever needed power, I've got it. But anyway, that's one of those things you probably don't want to forget. Next would be soffit lights, and these lights are really small. They're actually only 3-inch lights. They put out like 500 lumens a piece. So right now we're just outside of my garage, and we have a whole line of them. I've actually put them at every single corner of the house, so even the back corner of the house, this one plus the other one, and then all of the gable corners as well. It's really nice to light up the individual areas, plus there's a sidewalk that goes around here, and it just makes the house look really cool. Number 12 is floor outlets, something that a lot of people won't think about. Again, we're back in my big living room, and you don't necessarily know where you're going to need power. So we put one here, and there's actually another one right over here. And here in my office, I knew that I was going to have a desk right in the middle. So again, there's another floor outlet just so that we have power where we need it. Number 13, right now we're in one of my storage rooms. I have one on each corner of the house. But if you look right up there, you see that coil of wire? Well, that's extra wire. I did not know if I was going to have needs later on in life, So I strung wire from the panel, which is in the other storage room, all the way to here. So I have a 15 amp, a 20 amp, and a 40 amp potential over here. It's not hooked up in the box on the other side, it's just run all the way across. That's something to think about. If you're not going to have access to it later on because, hey, you're like me and you finished the space, you can't get anything through. Plus, I actually have 2 fire barriers that go all the way across, so there is no fishing anything through this ceiling. So you're going to have to think ahead on this. Either put some wire in. I actually already have some water, so I can always tap into those if I need to. But also communications lines. It's not a bad idea. Hopefully this gives you some ideas if you're building a new home for yourself. I think every home should have all of these things within it. Make sure to hit that like button down below as well as subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.